Hey. Um, just figured I would do a video update for anyone interested in my life. It's also like kind of a journaling session, I guess, so it might go long. I don't know. I don't really have any idea of what I'm going to talk about, but there's plenty of stuff that I could. I think it's been like almost 2 weeks since my last video, and I was, I was sad from the last video, and I've reflected on it a lot, especially after the next couple days after I made it, and it was just like, it's really not that big of a deal, and um, I shouldn't let it have such an impact on me, but I think it was more just like that it reminded me of um, the the grief that I have over like what the world could be like um, if 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 like the system was drastically different, like if everyone's needs were met in the ideal kind of situation and stuff. Just yeah. So because a lot of that ties into um, the things that I was believing in the very beginning of last year, when I kind of got a little delusional, you know, especially with like the AI and stuff, um, and I yeah. But that was a core theme around the belief that I had as to like why I, you know, quit my job, my dream job, and bought a one-way first-class ticket to Hawaii, and only packed clothes for a body that is not this body, like literally clothes that would not fit me at all, because I was convinced that my consciousness was going to be shifting into another timeline or reality where essentially all of my hopes and dreams, both for me personally and for the world at large, had come true. They were already like done. It was just like waiting for me, Um, I don't know if I've talked much about that in any of these videos, or even in the stuff I post on my Discord server. I mean, I know I documented the whole thing in real time, like all of last year, especially January, February, March, which was like the peak of that whole experience. But yeah, so this might be news to some of you, but yeah, it was pretty woo woo. But anyway, that's what I mean about that incident in my last video, and I thought about it too, and actually, unfortunately, I think it was the daughter who said the thing, who was like, "You're a boy," and like yelled it at me as they were getting in their car, just because I was wearing this choker, and I had a tank top on that had a sunflower that said "Believe." Like, not that big of a deal. You might see my nails. I have acrylics for the first time ever. I didn't even have these. I got these for myself last Sunday. They're white. Um, like, oh, well, they're white glitter. I don't know if you can. Yeah, isn't that cool? Um, but like, what an adjustment. Just like, because they're like long. I mean, they're short to some people probably, but like, I've always cut my nails really short. I don't bite them or anything, and so just the adjustment of like having these and like typing, and like using my phone. I can't imagine people who have ones that are like crazy long. Like, how do you function? But anyway, that's what I meant about the situation in the last video where the daughter yelled that at me in the parking lot, and I was really like sad and upset about it, and like and it was because it was just like a triggering reminder of the grief that I will kind of always carry around the world that I thought I was going to be um, you know, shifting to. Yeah. But anyway, I didn't let it keep me down for too long. Obviously, I think like it was maybe a week later, not even. I think it was the next weekend is when I decided to get these done, which was last weekend, and I worked in an office. Well, it's not an office. It's like a giant warehouse on a major construction site in northern Arizona. They're a client of ours, and they pay to have someone from our team there all day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just because they have like hundreds of users and all kinds of, they need someone on site to do all their tech stuff. So they pay us to do that, and there was only one other person here in Phoenix that has been covering those shifts, so he's been doing it every week, 3 days a week for a while now. And so now that I'm here, even though I'll get to that in a second, but yeah, so I've been going there 3 days a week, and I didn't go I wasn't there on Monday because they didn't, because I've been doing every other week with the other person. And so I wasn't supposed to work on site the week that we just had, but because of some changes that I'll get to in a minute, my manager was like, would you mind covering this week, for the other person, just to give them a break? And I was like, sure, no problem, because I actually do enjoy it. It sounds really weird, and I never thought I would say that, because I've been working remote, aside from the last year of not working, year and a half or whatever. But that last job was fully remote, and I was there for 5 years. And then for the 5 years prior to that, I was mostly remote. The 3 years before that last job, so for the last 8 years of working, it's been 100% remote. And then before that, it was like hybrid. And I never liked going into the office back then for many reasons. But this time around, I didn't think I would like it, but I do. And I don't, obviously it's practically it, like, I don't know, it's obviously not ideal, because like I have to get up much earlier and make myself like presentable, which requires I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to my skincare and my hair care and stuff, and so I have a whole routine and certain order to do things, and I like to have time to wake up in the morning and stretch and do yoga and have my tea and read a little bit and kind of all that stuff. So I end up, on those days that I go in, I wake up at like 4 a.m. And then I'm out the door by like 7:30. And but I do enjoy it when I go in. I'm really good at the work. I'm really good at what I do, and everyone that I've been working with there has been like super friendly, super helpful, super grateful for me to like help them and stuff, which has been really nice. And And the days go by super fast too. But like I said, practically it doesn't make sense over a fully remote job because you have to get up earlier, and then you've got gas and driving. Gas is expensive, obviously, and driving because it's like at least a half hour away. Plus just adding the miles to the vehicle, that's that adds up. And yeah, but anyway, the point I was trying to make is that I got my nails done last Sunday, and then this week when they asked me last minute to cover the week for the rest of the week on site, I was like, sure. And then I was thinking about it afterwards, like, oh, this is something new. Like, I'm gonna be wearing these acrylics into a professional work setting, with like hundreds of people around every day that I'm interacting with and stuff. But I don't think I was really nervous, to be honest. I don't remember really actually being nervous. It was just like, okay, let's see how this goes. And it went well. It went really well. I didn't get any specific compliments on my nails, which is okay. I think because my guess is that, like, first off, I am still new there, so even as a contractor, I'm still new. And I think maybe too, it's just that maybe people aren't, sure. I don't know. I'm not sure. Or maybe it just, that opportunity just didn't show up in the conversations I was having, which is fine. I'm not like upset about it or like disappointed or anything. But I will say that people are like especially nice. And they were before, but this week, like after like these, and I have some like, I've gotten some like a couple pairs of jeans that I really like. They're women's, and they're like, hip hugging and kind of like bell bottoms, which I never thought I would like be into, but like I totally like it. Um, and yeah, and like I fill them in very well with like hips and curves and that kind of stuff. And so I think, and the polos for work that I wear are different colors, but they're like, I don't know if they're, I think they're Abercrombie or something, but they're women's polos, so the shoulders or the arms are short, And I wear this necklace, and then I have my hair usually like in some kind of bun like this. And I didn't wear this one because I thought it was just too like unprofessional, dangly. But I did even wear my like, I have a moonstone, which is a white hand carved crescent moon, just comes down a little bit. I've worn it in other videos, and it matches these two. And I was wearing that, and I did notice that like people just seem to be even more like, I don't know, like friendly and like less guarded or something. I don't know. It's nice though. Again, it's probably psychological and just in my head, but it went well, is the point I'm making. And so the whole interaction last time with the mother and daughter and the choker necklace, and they're like, and what they shouted at me, it didn't stop me. I didn't let it like stop me from continuing to be me and kind of like not hide that part of myself from the world. And yeah. But there have been some kind of big changes or big news in the last week and a half, and I'm not sure how much I want to share right now, but because I just don't want to jinx it, even though it's like essentially a done deal. Like, the paperwork has been signed, like it's official, I'm just like waiting on the final, like the background check to come back and like, be clear. And like I did my drug test and I'm not worried about that. The only concern I really have is prescription meds, because I do have two medications, my ADHD meds and my anxiety meds, and I take both of those pretty much daily. The anxiety one, I don't take it every day, but the ADHD one I do every morning. And like they'll obviously show up on a drug test, but I know that like there's no way that like I know that there's a process for it. Like if they come up positive, then usually I guess something called an MRO, a medical review officer, I think, like will reach out to me and be like, hey, you were positive for these like substances. Do you have like a prescription or anything? And I'll be like, yeah. And I'll give them like the prescription number or the name of the doctor or the pharmacy or something like that, and they'll call and follow up and confirm that it's all legitimate, and then they stamp their approval, and then it goes to the company, and the company is like, okay, you're all set, but I'm just waiting for that part. I did the drug test on I think Thursday last week, so but it is a different job than the one that I just got like a month and a half ago. Um, the one that I got a month and a half ago, they hired me as a 30-day contract to hire. I don't know if I've shared any of this, the part I'm about to say, but yet or not. So if I have, then apologies. But I think it was like in the beginning of last week when it was past my 30 days. And so I reached out to my manager and I was like, hey, so is there anything I should know? Like, do you want me to stay and keep working, or like what's the deal? And he was like, oh yeah, like obviously, because like I have been performing, I guess like kind of above and beyond, yeah. And like on the daily board that shows our stats compared to all the other people on the team and stuff. And I think there's probably like 10 or 15 people on the day shift that I'm with. There are different categories like efficiency and number of tickets closed and billable hours, and I'm usually at the top of at least one or two of those, if not all three of them, every day. So I do like kick butt with that stuff. And so the manager was like, yeah, we're gonna set you up as a W-2. You'll get benefits. You'll get the emails and stuff, and the salary will be the same. And I was like, is there any wiggle room on that? I'm not really good at like negotiating with that kind of thing, so I wasn't sure how I was gonna bring it up, but I just kind of said like, is there any wiggle room? And he was like, let me check. And while we were on the phone, I guess he probably just like sent a Teams chat to the owner, and then he was like, I can do an extra 5K, so like per year. So it was something. And I was like, okay, thanks, I appreciate it. I did feel like I earned it and deserved it. And they had already brought me in when they hired me at the highest amount that they were offering for the position, because they gave a range of like within 10K, and they hired me at the top of that. And so for me to be able to get an additional 5 was like, oh, okay, feels cool. But that same day, I got a call from from a recruiter with my old company, the one that I was with for 5 years, my dream job, the one supporting oncology professionals, And they offered me my job back. Yeah. I was So after I resigned in the very end of February of last year because of the manic episode, and I flew to Hawaii, and obviously, I didn't go to another reality. And so when I landed, I think like the first day or the second day, because I was only there for 3 days or 4 days, and then I came back. I messaged my manager, and I was like, yeah, basically, I can't remember the exact wording, but I basically said like I was suffering through a mental health crisis, and I was not thinking clearly, and you know, like I'm really sorry, and I'm getting support, and blah blah blah, and but like if you'd ever consider bringing me back, like I would really love that. I would be really like appreciative and grateful of that chance. And he was instantly like, yeah, of course. Like he's like, as long as something like this doesn't happen again, like he's like, if in the future, like if you ever are having an issue like that, like you have support through the company. Like you could have taken a leave of absence and it would have been paid and everything last year. And of course I wasn't thinking clearly, so that's why I didn't do that. But the point is that I've been waiting since then. So I think like 16 months for that job to come back, because it wasn't as easy as just like, oh, it's just like change it back, for even though he just quit, a couple days ago. You have to go through the whole process again. And the first time around, when I got hired by that company, from the time I initially applied to my actual start date when I started was like 4 months or something ridiculous. But I also had I was using medicinal cannabis at the time. I had my medicinal card, and so I had to. That held it up a lot, but it held it up by like a month. But the other 2 or 3 months or whatever was just like waiting for them to. It's a massive company, so just waiting for them to like get all the processes done and everything like approved and all that stuff. Um, yeah, so we'll. Oh my gosh, I just dissociated and I don't remember what I was saying. Something about the new job. So yeah, so I'm just waiting for that. To That's where I'm at with that job, though. I think that's what I was trying to say. I may have forgotten something, but oh well. But yeah, it was the same day that the current place offered me the W-2, and I hadn't even signed the offer from the current place. Um, um, yeah, and so I told my manager. I called him and told him the situation, and I was like, this is what's going on. It was unexpected because I did give up on waiting for that job. Like I waited for it like all last year. And I was still applying to other jobs and everything like that, but I was just holding out hope for so long that that job would come back because, aside from it being my dream job, like for many reasons, um, the work, the team, the mission of the company, that's the big one for me because like I have um, I have, I've lost people in my life that I have loved and cared for very deeply um, due to cancer. And so being able to help the medical professionals who are actually like helping people and saving lives and, you know, and that kind of thing, specifically related to cancer, it like it it gave me a sense of like purpose or fulfillment that I had never had before. And, like with all the other tech places I had worked in my life, yeah, I was good at it, and I'm always happy to help people with their technical issues and stuff because I find it fun. I like puzzles and stuff and troubleshooting. Um, but it was always like I never cared about it that much. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, this person can't like get into their Amazon Fire Stick to watch their fucking. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to swear. To watch their show, like, yeah, whoop de doo. You know what I mean? Like that's. I know it's still helping someone, like and get through their day or whatever. So it's still a good thing, but I don't know. It's just it feels very different than the work that I was doing. With Varian, that's the company, and yeah, and so it came back. So I told my current manager about it, and I was like, it was very unexpected because I gave up thinking that it would ever come back, and that's why I was going crazy applying to jobs and everything. Like 2 months ago or however long that was. Um, but I said they gave me an offer that I just can't refuse, and he was like, is there anything we can do to get you to stay? And I said no, because I said I appreciate that, but no, because aside from the salary, which is substantially different, I was trying to say that and as respectfully as I could. I said it's the work, it's the mission, and then I said, like, honestly, it's my dream job. And when I resigned last year, there's been a lot of like heartbreak and grief from that. Um, and my current manager was like, well, we're really sad to see you go because like you like quickly stepped into a very prominent role here with the team. He's like, people look up to you and go to you for escalations already and stuff. And but he said, like, on a personal note, I'm like really excited for you and happy for you because don't ever let someone stop you from like reaching your dreams. It was really nice of him to say that. Um, and so I'm still working there. Um, and I think as of now, my last day there is the 26th of June, because my start date with Varian is supposed to be the 29th, like the following Monday. But I have a feeling the start date with Varian is going to get pushed back a couple weeks because of the prescription drug review and stuff. That might add a little bit of time. Um, so I might end up working at the current place even an extra week or two. I talked to my boss, my manager, about it yesterday. I was like, hey, if I just explained what I just said basically, and I was like, if that happens, would you want me to stay on an extra week or two just to help with the team? And I could use the money. And he was like, yeah, just keep me posted, let me know when your start date is, and we can do what we got to do. So it's cool. They're being real cool about it. So I got my official offer letter because that day was just the recruiter who called me and was like, I know you've been waiting a long time for this. Like, your former manager, it was really excited when I called him about this job position that finally got approved, and he said, I already have someone picked out. There's no need to look for anyone else. We're not doing interviews. We're not like, he's like, this person, like, we've missed them. We want them back on the team. They don't need to interview or anything. Just this is the person, which is like amazing. I'm so grateful to yeah. But they officially sent me my offer letter. I think it was Thursday, and the pay is a little bit higher than what my salary was when I left, and it had it had gone up over the 5 years, because I was, not just because like every year they do a little raise, because they do, but I was also getting performance raises as well. And so it was substantial. And my old manager was able to add even a little more, maybe just like because of inflation or something, But so my base salary is really, I'm really happy with. And then between overtime and bonus, it's like an additional, what would that be? An additional 30%. So, yeah, it's, I never thought I would be making that kind of money again. And I know that if it wasn't for this job, like I won't have that kind of money ever again, But I'm planning on I'm planning on sticking to my original plan when I first worked for this company, to stay there for the rest of my career. And I'm sticking to that this time for as long as I can stay. So, yeah. But yeah, so that's where everything is at right now. Oh gosh, it's already 30 minutes. This might end up being like an hour-long video, because I still have a lot of other stuff I want to talk about. So don't feel obligated if you're watching this. Like, oh my god, what are they talking about? What else? Like, but I'd like to think that if you're like one of the handful of people that even watches these videos or something, that, I don't know, that's not how you're feeling. That you're just like, okay, maybe this is on in the background while you're doing something. That's cool, I appreciate you being here and listening to me, caring about me. So I've been having this weird feeling about all of this, though, the last couple days. I've been noticing like fear, and it's like it's a unique kind of fear, because the fear is that I fear for my mental health, going back to just working 100% remote. I know it sounds weird, but the experience of like going into work 2 or 3 days a week, like I've been doing for the last couple weeks, has been really good for me. Like really, really good for me. And I'm honestly gonna miss it. And I don't have that option with the old company, the one that I'm rejoining. It's 100% remote. There's no office in the state. The closest office is in California, but they don't even have no one from my team is in that office, because everyone on my team is remote. We're all over the country, and some of the team people are in Canada, and I think there's even one. Yeah, there's one person in the UK. But I'm worried about how I'm gonna handle it, because I've noticed over the last few weeks that the days that I am working remotely with the current job here at this apartment, and I'm here all day, those days are significantly different. Like, I struggle on those days. Struggle, a lot, even though it's the same work. And I'm worried that it's going to be like that every day when I go back to Varian. So I think it's a perfectly, you know, I don't know, it makes sense to have this worry, to have this fear. Um, but I'm just trying to figure out like what I'm gonna do about it. And I thought like a couple little things might help, like in the morning, like still getting dressed and presentable, you know, wearing something that feels, I don't have to wear like, you know, I don't have to wear my polo. I can wear a tank if I want, which I like. Like I could never wear this to the office that I'm working at currently. I had to get like special security clearance to get access to this site, and you have to like, there's like guards at all the entrances, and you got to scan your badge, and um, yeah, I can't even actually talk about it really because I had to sign all these different NDAs and all this stuff, and um, but you know, I wear polos and I do wear jeans. Sometimes I wear slacks, but I was thinking if I still did that, you know, because I never just work in my pajamas or anything. I mean, like I think once or twice I have if I haven't been feeling too well, but for the most part, I usually at least put on some comfy, you know, some comfy like cargo pants and like a tank or a tee. And I always like, you know, do my whole morning routine of like brushing my hair and washing my face and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Tea, yoga. Still gonna do all that, but I thought it would be good for me to like maybe go out in the morning and just like go for a quick walk because there's a park like literally right outside the door. I just have to go around to get around the fence, but it's a park that has a bike path on it that I actually used to ride my bike on a couple years ago when I had that e-bike that was like really cool. But I thought that would be good for me to get out and get some fresh air for a little bit in the morning, even just 5 or 10 minutes. But I'm trying to figure out the social aspect because like when I'm working on site at the the office that I go to right now, um, I'm like constantly engaging in socialization because like people just come up to my desk. It's like a giant open, a massive open like basically a warehouse, but it's like rounded because it's not technically a permanent building. It's only there until like the construction of the main area that they're building for something else is complete, which takes like, I don't know, a year or two. And this is just like the main kind of temporary headquarters. Um, but my desk is in the very back corner, and there's probably like, I don't know, 100 or 200 people in the whole giant room. It's massive. And everyone knows that where IT is, so whenever they have a problem, they just walk up to the desk and they're like, I have this issue, can you fix it? And that's how it happens constantly. Like sometimes there's a line of people, you know, and I'm just like doing multiple things at once. It's really good for me because I'm really good at it. But I'm socializing like constantly from the moment that I walk in the door. And I made friends with some people, you know, and like when I'm walking in, it's like, hey, good morning, you know, that kind of thing. Like your hair, like your shirt. Um, but I'm not going to have that. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can supplement that or find an alternative, you know, throughout the day or maybe just in the morning or something. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Sorry, my eyes are like burning, by the way. They've been I cleaned earlier and I think I like accidentally got some fumes of some cleaning stuff in my eyes and they've just been bothering me. I flushed them with saline, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm worried about how I'm going to mentally handle it because I'm still dealing with all of the body somatic signals and all that stuff. It's been constantly happening, this whole video. It's constantly happening at all times of the day and the night. And I got no answers from all the avenues that I went through. Like medical science has just come back like we know there's something wrong, but we can't figure it out. And like, okay, like therapists, no. Psychiatrist and a bunch of different meds, no. Neurologist, MRIs and of brain and spine, EMG of arms and legs. He said your muscles and your nerves are acting very abnormally, but he's like, I don't know why. And he said, like, we can just slap the label of neuropathy for now. So I'm diagnosed with neuropathy on my chart. But, and he was like, so you can try taking this, like, amino acid supplement. And So I was reading about it all more because I'm already on so many medications and I take so many different supplements and all that stuff. And so I always have to check for any interactions with anything and like go through the side effects and like weigh is it worth it and blah blah blah. And neuropathy, like it's not what I have, because what I'm experiencing is specifically like constant like twitches and spasms and like locking of muscles and of like joints and stuff. And that's not really what people with neuropathy experience. The specific neuropathy that he like slapped the label on for me, that he diagnosed me with, is peripheral neuropathy. And I was reading all of that, and like all of the symptoms for that are like tingling, numbness, even like a burning sensation in the limbs, like the arms or the legs. I don't have any of that, and none of them I mentioned like spasms or twitches or locks or anything. So neuropathy is most likely not what I have. And I did end up ordering the like some kind of amino lipoic acid or something that is that has helped a lot of people with neuropathy, with peripheral neuropathy. But there are like pretty intense side effects, especially with like the gastrointestinal tract. And I already have medications that cause a lot of like you know issues with that I'm like counter treating with like supplements and lifestyle changes with like diet and like staying super hydrated and stretching all the time. And like it's taking care of just existing in my body is like a full-time job of just like taking care of it every day, all day. you know like like if I slack at all, then like it has a dramatic impact and effect on my life and like my mood and like my mental health. Yeah, so I can't remember why I got off on this tangent. Oh, the neuropathy stuff. So, but I'm still dealing with all this stuff constantly, and medical science is basically just like, we know there's something wrong, but you don't seem to have brain damage or like a tumor or anything. So, like, you know, I told my neurologist, uh, um, like if this doesn't, like if we can't get any more answers from medical professionals, like, because I asked him like, are there any more tests with like another specialist or something, and he was like, not really. Like, there's always something that we could do, but he's like, it would just honestly be a waste of time and money, because like it's not, you know. And so I told him like, well, I guess the next thing I'll do is take a more like holistic approach, and like I gotta look into EMDR. I briefly did some EMDR work with one of my therapists years ago, before all this, all of the craziness of the last couple of years started. But I thought maybe I would look into something like that, look into somatic healing techniques and stuff. Even though looking into all of that in the first place is what got me in this mess. um, so I'm a little nervous about that, but yeah, and just I think I just have to learn it. Like I just have to integrate it, and like, which is what I've been doing for the last 16 months. But it sucks to think that like, or to accept that this is just how it's gonna be for the rest of my life, you know? Yeah. And it can be very overwhelming, especially when I am like during vulnerable situations, you know, where like I'm already anxious about something, or like my anxiety or my stress has been building all day, and then the body stuff just starts, you know, and it like it's very much a catalyst or a trigger that can like send me over the edge from like barely hanging on and staying grounded and like taking care of myself, and executive functioning is like working and stuff, and then like just the, you know, the wrong few sensations, and all of a sudden it's like spiraling and freaking out, and like, you know, flashbacks to like all of the intense like, you know, psychological terror and like religious fear and the psych ward and all that stuff, and then the body's just freaking out even more because it just creates feedback loops, and you know, and I do have meds for those situations, but I try to use them very sparingly because I just, yeah. Yeah, so that's what's been on my mind lately, is just trying to figure out how I'm going to handle working remotely again, like 100% remote. But I think I'm off to a good start as far as the few little ideas that I have. I'm starting to piece together, and I even thought, like, maybe I'll get like a WeWork, you know, like I'll rent a shared working space, just like a desk, you know, with like other randos that are like doing their own work. And I'll do that like 1 or 2 days a week or something. But with the, you can book stuff like hourly or by the day, but it's a lot of money. It's like not nearly as like cheap as I was hoping it was going to be. And I suppose I could always ask the new company if they'd be willing to pay for that, but they're going to be like, why? You know what I mean? Like, you are working remote. What do you need to go in there for? Yeah. So, aside from all of the work stuff, oh gosh, it's already 50 minutes. I can't believe how long this is. I so today's Saturday. Last night, Friday night, I had a really bad night. I haven't been able to cry for I don't know, over a month, maybe longer. For like, there have been times where I've felt like I'm about to cry when I think about certain things, especially my cat. But I usually just stop and take a breath and start thinking about something else. But last night, the wave of grief and loneliness and heartbreak and despair just like hit hard. And I was like curled up in the bed here in like the fetal position, like hugging myself tightly. I got this at the dollar store a couple weeks ago. It's a raccoon, I think, yeah. But I named them Bear, so Bear the raccoon. And I grabbed Bear and just snugged with Bear for so long. And I was like crying, bawling my eyes out, and like having to like get up and blow my nose every few minutes, and one of them was like blocked, and my face was all red and puffy from crying, and it was just a mess. Like, it was really good for me to get that out and stuff, but at the same time it was like scary because it just reminded me that all of the feelings, like the grief, the amount of grief that I've been carrying, that I still carry, that's accumulated over the years, over the decades, especially in the last year or two. And the exhaustion, the like existential exhaustion, and the loneliness, and like the hollowness that I've always had, that's always been there. This hollow space, this void inside of me that that just doesn't want to keep going, you know. Crying just reminded me that all that stuff is still there, and it feels just as true and just as heavy and just as strong as it ever has. Even now, that and don't get me wrong, I'm grateful. I'm extremely grateful. I say it out loud. I remind myself every day of something, something that I notice or remember or see, or something that I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm so grateful that like I have a bed, like that I have a roof over my head, that I have running water, that I have food, that I have a job, that I, you know what I mean, like all this stuff. And my dream job coming back, and like I've been paying off more debt. I'm on a payment plan now, paying off all of my IRS debt from cashing in my 401k last year just to pay for my rent and everything. I'm paying that off over the next 6 months. I'm also paying off the credit card debt that I went to court for in the beginning of the year, that they got like a judgment, or they tried to get a judgment on my bank account, but there wasn't enough money in it, so they couldn't get it. I'm paying that off, and I have other credit card debt that I'm going to start paying, and I'm doing all the things, I'm taking all the steps, and all that kind of stuff. But even with all of these positive changes and opportunities and everything, I still just have all those feelings. And I don't know if they're ever going to go away. And last night, it got to a point where I was afraid of 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 I wasn't sure where the night was going to go. And there was a moment or two where I really, really, really thought about, wanting to go. Like, go. And, yeah, it was scary. I did end up calling a friend. Um, I called someone and talked to them for just a few minutes. I just wanted to hear someone's voice and kind of tell them that I was struggling and that I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to remain safe that night. But they talked to me for a few minutes. They were driving, and there was like a lot of distractions and stuff, so I didn't want to keep them. But I was able to ground myself enough just in the few minutes that we talked to tell them, like, it's okay, I'll be safe tonight, like, let's talk this weekend. And I don't know. And that's what led me to do this video entry. Was like, I think I just need to kind of journal and vent about some of this stuff, or just like talk about it and process it the way that I do. And so I figured, why not just do a video instead of putting it all on that friend, But I made it through the night. Shortly after that phone call, I still was bawling my eyes out, and I wouldn't say hyperventilating, but just, gasping for air a lot because of how much I was crying, and I was squeezing Bear as hard as I could, just curled up in the fetal position, and I had a heated blanket on over me just to try to simulate some kind of feeling of being held, because that's the one thing that just kept coming back to me and causing me to bawl my eyes out again and again and again, was just I don't remember the last time that I was held by someone who cared for me, and wanted to hold me, not out of obligation or but they genuinely cared about me, and it made them feel better to hold me, and it made me and I could feel that and pick up on that. And so, you know, like that kind of experience, I genuinely don't remember the last time that I had something like that. I want to say maybe 15 or 16 years ago. So it's been a long time. And it's had a really, you know, a very strong impact on every like aspect of my life, I think. And so I was just trying to like simulate that as much as I could with the heated blanket and bear. And just crying. Like a deep, deep cry coming from like the bottom of my heart, you know? But I think it's like the body, nervous system stuff. These are just the cards that I was dealt, and I have to learn to live with it and integrate it in a way that doesn't cause me to make the decision to leave. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I'm gonna share for now, but I'm doing okay today. So I went out and ran some errands this morning. Did a little in-person shopping, wearing both of my necklaces, women's pants that I fell in and fit very well, I think. My nails, my hair, and this cute little thing. And I rocked it. I didn't feel any like insecurity or worry or anxiety or anything, so, you know, I consider that a good day. All of my errands are done for the day. I just gotta fold some laundry and then I'm done. And it's only, I think it's probably like 4 or 5 or something now, so I'm just gonna chill for the rest of the night. And maybe read. I got a new book that one of my friends in my support group recommended after we had a very, very long kind of heart-to-heart. The Others Within Us by Robert Falconer. It's internal family systems, which is a form of flex therapy, basically. And it's something that I've been doing for the last couple of years, but I didn't know it had a name. But basically, it's like talking to yourself, the parts of yourself. So like if you're feeling anxious or if you're feeling tense, especially in certain areas, like, you know, using like taking on a caregiver role specifically for like that part, and like talking to it and being like, I understand why we're feeling anxious over this, but it's okay. We're gonna be okay. That kind of thing. That's just a very high level example, but that's kind of the gist of IFS. But this specifically has to do with porous mind and even spirit stuff, spirit possession, what he calls unattached burdens, or I think it's unattached burdens, which could also be called like demons or curses or karma, or there's all kinds of words that you could fit it, but because I do think that there's I don't know, I'm dealing with something that won't leave me alone until I either address it or figure out how to get rid of it. So that's a discussion for another video, if I ever even get to the point where I want to talk about it. But yeah, that's everything. Hour and 5 minutes. Whew. Yeah. Thanks if you're still here. I appreciate you. Yeah, that's all I have. So thanks again. And to future me, keep going. Just hang on. Okay. Love you. Bye.